Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. For today's video, I want to show a good way to grind some credits in version 1.15 of Gran Turismo 7. So this is after the end of the Tomahawk era, as the Tomahawk X basically got bonked with the PP system adjustments. But anyways, with this race, we're going to be going to the WTC800 event at Sardegna A, and the car we're going to be using is the Toyota GR010 Hybrid. And this car is stupidly fast thanks to its hybrid system that can last for the entire race. So I'll show you how to get it, the parts that you'll need before we start to tune it, and then I'll show you the tune and a little showcase. So first things first, you want to go to Brand Central, and then you're going to want to go over to the Asia Pacific region. Click on Toyota, so you just need to press the X button as your cursor is hovering right over it. Go to showroom and go all the way to the right, and the Toyota GR010 should be waiting for you. Be aware that it is an expensive car. It's at 3 million credits. But anyways, after you buy it, you want to go over to the tuning shop, and you only need to get a few things: racing hard tires, a power restrictor, and the ballast is actually optional. In the tune that I'll be showing, you don't need the ballast, which is great because the ballast slows you down and it kills your fuel economy. But anyways, let's go on over to the tune. Alright, so for the tune that I'm about to show in a moment, I went for a zero ballast tune. I went for as little downforce that I can get away with while making sure that I don't reduce the power of the car too much. And I also did a bunch of shenanigans with the suspension, so raising the car up to 90 millimeters for both sides, having 3.0 degrees of negative camber, having a little bit of toe out on both ends of the car to actually help it turn in a bit more. I have the brake balance at +5 or 5 to the rear. Basically, I'm trying to make this car a bit more loose to navigate through the turns a bit better. And once again, no ballast, as little downforce that I can get away with, so I can make the car a bit more fuel efficient. But anyways, let's go over to the showcase. So with the tune that I just showed, it's actually possible to do a zero stop. What you need to do is go to the multifunction display on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. So you press D left or D right on your D-pad, and you want to move the fuel mapping to 2. So you can just press D up or D down to adjust the fuel mapping values. So have it at 2, and you want to shift when the bar starts to fill up. So just as you see it start to fill up, that's when you shift. So you're doing a bit of fuel mapping and a lot of short shifting. And by doing this, it is possible to use around 6% of fuel per lap, which should give you just enough fuel to be able to complete the race without having to pit. The nice thing about the GR010 is that the hybrid system is doing a lot of the work for you, which means you're using less fuel. But as long as you have the fuel mapping at 2 for pretty much the entire race, shift when the bar starts to fill up, then you should be good to go in terms of fuel. And one thing I want to note, and this actually has to do with the race itself and not the car, I always suggest trying to start the race with the wind pointing south. And this is so you can get a bit of tailwind, so you can go a little faster down the main straight. And with that tailwind, you'll be able to go a little bit faster, which means that your lap times will be a little bit faster. And with the hybrid system of this car, you want to try to do a little bit of battery management, so doing a little bit more trail braking. So you're holding on the brakes for a little bit longer, because it is possible to run out of the hybrid charge with this car with this tune. And if you run out of the hybrid charge, which can happen during lap 15, then your car is going to noticeably slow down and the fuel economy is going to be a lot worse. So you want to try to do as much battery management as possible, mainly by holding on the brakes for a little bit longer as you're going through the turns. And if you do it just right, the hybrid management should last the entire race. It is a little hard to do, but once you start to practice it a little bit, then you should be able to get it nailed down to a science. But anyways, taking a look at the times on the right side of the screen, you can see that I'm getting 134s, a couple of 133s. If you're really fast, it's possible to get a low 133 while you're doing all this fuel saving. And if you're able to get these kind of lap times, it is possible to get an under 24-minute run. And skipping over towards the end of the race, I barely have any hybrid charge left, so once again, battery management is critical to try not to run out of it in this race. But for the end of the zero stop, where you do a bunch of fuel saving, I was able to get a 23 minutes and 35 seconds. So this is a pretty fast run during the zero stop. Now, some people are probably going to be wondering, what about the one stop? So I did want to try a quick run with that. And with the one stop, I barely even bothered to fuel save. So I was at fuel up 1, basically revving out the car, shifting when the bar fills up. I suggest pitting halfway into the race, but this could be either lap 6, 7, or 8. And this is mostly going to depend on when you're about to start to lap the AI cars. So I would suggest pitting just before you start to lap them, because if you lap a car and then you have to pit, you come out of the pits and they're ahead of you, guess what? You have to deal with them again. You are probably going to lose more time, and that's just going to give you a bit of a headache. So what I suggest doing, pit before you start to lap them, and chances are that there's going to be no one behind you for ages. So by doing that, you'll be able to safely pit in, safely pit out, and you don't have to worry about getting punted by these silly AI cars. And here's the thing to note. With the one stop, I'm getting 132 lap times, 133 lap times, and while that is fast and all, I have to go to the pit stop. I have to refuel if I want to. I can get a tire change, but on this run I'm not. But either way, in this pit stop, I'm losing a bunch of time, and I'm losing over 20 seconds. And once again, that kills your momentum. So this is definitely not the fastest way to go about this race, but it is something that you can do in case that you don't want to bother fuel saving. Oh, and just make sure you don't overshoot the corner like how I did, because that makes you look a little silly. But anyways, at the end of this run, in which yes, you still have to worry about the hybrid management, so make sure you're doing a bit of that by holding on the brakes for a bit longer through the turns. But at the end of this run, the one stop, I was able to get a 23 minutes and 50 seconds. So is it faster than the zero stop? No. Is it faster than a lot of the other cars that you can do this event with? Heck yes. So either way, whether you do a zero or one stop, it is possible to get an under 24-minute run or even a 23.5-minute run if you're able to nail down everything under ideal conditions and do a zero stop. So with you getting around 727,000 credits for a clean run in around 24 minutes, then it is possible to get around 2.1 million credits in a little over an hour, so in about 3 of these runs. But anyways, that is it for this video. So normally I don't make these kind of videos. I normally focus on the sport mode side of things in Gran Turismo 7, but if this is something that you like to see a bit more often from me, please let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, happy farming and have an awesome week. So this is Mr. MCA, the world's most okay player, and I'll see you in the next video.